Most woodworkers know the struggle of trying to shove a heavy table saw across a concrete floor. It usually involves a lot of grunting, some questionable leverage, and a fair amount of frustration. That is exactly where this mobile base comes into play. It is one of those pieces of gear that feels like it was designed by someone who actually spends time in a shop, rather than just sitting behind a desk drawing up blueprints. The first thing that hits you is the build quality. We are talking about a 1/4 inch of solid, welded steel. When you get your hands on it, there is no flex, no rattling, and absolutely no sense that this thing is going to buckle under the weight of a professional-grade saw. It feels like a tank, and honestly, that is exactly what you want when you are moving around a machine that costs as much as a used car. The black powder coat finish is tough too. It is the kind of surface that shrugs off the occasional bump from a stray piece of lumber or a dropped wrench without showing every little scratch. But the real magic here is the operation. You do not need to fiddle with multiple levers or crawl around on the floor to get the saw moving. It uses a single-foot pedal mechanism that lifts the entire cabinet in one smooth, decisive motion. It is surprisingly satisfying to use. You just step down, the weight shifts, and suddenly this massive, stationary machine is gliding across the floor like it is on ice. What stands out, though, is how it behaves when it is parked. When the pedal is disengaged, the cabinet drops right back down to the floor. It sits flush, which is crucial because you do not want your saw vibrating or shifting while you are pushing a board through the blade. It feels rock solid, just as if it were bolted directly to the foundation. Now, it is not all perfect. Because it is so rigid and well built, it does add a bit of height to the saw. If you are on the shorter side, or if your outfeed table is already perfectly dialed in to your current saw height, you might find yourself needing to make some adjustments to your setup to compensate for that extra lift. It is a minor annoyance, but it is something to keep in mind before you bolt everything down. Also, while it moves beautifully on smooth concrete, it is still a heavy piece of machinery, so do not expect it to glide over deep cracks or uneven shop flooring without a little bit of effort. Still, for the sheer convenience of being able to reclaim that floor space at the end of a project, it is hard to argue with the design. It turns a permanent, immovable object into something that actually fits into the flow of a modern, flexible workspace. It is a simple, mechanical solution to a very common headache, and it does its job without any unnecessary bells or whistles. If you're tired of fighting with your equipment just to get a little more room, this is probably the most straightforward way to solve that problem. It is sturdy, it is reliable, and it just works.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.